Welcome to another Coturnix Corner morning musings. Um, this is kind of a goofy one, guys. I'm having to use my iPhone in order to go live this morning because my software on my computer had expired and I didn't think it was supposed to expire yet. So we're going to go ahead and try to do a quick live using the iPhone here. I'll try to see if I can't get this set up. Let's see if my battery will. All right, let me see if I can't get everything set up properly. Gonna have to bear with me this morning, guys. Things are not going as planned. Let's see. Looks like. I'm trying to get bring it up over on my laptop so I can at least see any questions that might come in. So, okay. So anyhow, good morning, everyone. Welcome to another Coturnix Corner live. I do want to give a shout out to our sponsors because I wasn't able to play the sponsor commercial role that we usually have when we first start off a live stream. So shout out first to Thieving Otter Farm, Rebecca Lynch. She donates eggs every week for us to give away, and it is much appreciated. Next on the list is Bryant's Roost, and Jennifer Bryant does the same thing. She also helps out with incubator giveaways on the Coturnix Kids program, so that's appreciated. And Rebecca from Thieving Otter Farm also donates hatching eggs for the giveaway for the kids. So that is much appreciated. Next on the list is Gopher Ridge Quail, and that's HP Murray. HP, thank you very much. HP donates eggs to give away also. So we appreciate that. And then again, Hatching Time. Hatching Time has been a long-time sponsor of the channel. Really appreciate it. They give away a $50 gift certificate every week to give away to you guys. And they also donate a 2-unit layer cage that we give away for the kids giveaway. So that's much appreciated. I just noticed something here. Looks like a cat or something's been chewing on some of my wires. So anyhow, what's been going on over here? I missed last week because I've been really busy working around the house. I actually had to prep the house for paint. I got the front of the house painted. I still have 2 sides and the back of the house to get painted yet. But I'm just going to kind of take my time on that, and do it, one side a week or something like that, because it's only me, and there's not I'm not a lot of weather down here in Florida that makes it good for painting. I mean, if it's not 110 degrees heat index, it's pouring down rain every afternoon. So I kind of gotta pick and choose my days carefully, so we can get the paint on the house and not worry about it. But we are getting there. Let's see what else is new. I did notice we have a lot of new members joining recently over on the Facebook group page and also the CoturnixCorner.com website. If you guys aren't a member of any of those or either of those pages, I highly suggest that you go ahead and get signed up for it. The Facebook group page has a lot of members, and I think we're pushing close to 50,000 now. And there's a lot of really good information there. Even though Facebook is kind of pissing me off, they're doing this thing now where they monitor all the comments that are posted on the group page, and they decide which ones are spam, and they have the right to go ahead and delete any of them at any time for whatever reason they decide. And yeah, so it's I don't understand Facebook, but anyhow, I guess that's what we have to live with. And then over at the CoturnixCorner.com website, if you're not a member over there, guys, go up and sign up. It's real easy. It's CoturnixCorner.com. We got about 5,000 members over there. A really great group. We got some regulars that check in all the time. They're really helpful. and they pretty much keep the group rolling. As lately, I haven't had a whole lot of time, to get in there and do much. So let's see what else is going on around here. For those of you who know, cookie header puppies, they're getting big. They're like 3 weeks old today, and they're starting to crawl around and be puppies. They've got their eyes open and whatnot. We got 4 males, all black, solid black males. So the odds of getting all of one sex in a litter, I looked it up, is less than 1%. And she did it. She's got all boys. But anyhow, we're going to be, in about another 3 weeks, we're going to start posting pictures of them and taking deposits for anybody that, might want a little toy poodle puppy. Let's see. I don't know why my computer over here. Hold on, guys. I'm trying to. Let me see if I can delete that. Okay. All right. I think that's about it for what's going on here. This is going to be a short one, guys, because one, I don't know how long my phone battery is going to last, but. Like I say, I did want to go live, so you guys didn't think I abandoned you again for another week. So if you guys have any questions or comments, go ahead and post them in the chat. I will try to keep up with it because the chat kind of scrolls by. I don't know why I can't. It doesn't look like I can comment anything. I'm just going to have to pay attention to what's going on here. So anyhow, we've got Samantha Stratton's in the house. She says good morning. Joe says, hey mate. Morning, Joe. Hannah Bishop's in the house. There's a name I haven't seen in a while. Good morning, Hannah. Heige Homestead says hi. Andy Rabbit's in the house. Andy says hello and thumbs up. Glad you could join us, Andy. Let's see. Anthony says good morning, Big T and everyone. Morning, Anthony. Glad you could join us, buddy. There we go. Now it's working. Let's see. Andy Rabbit says, haha, welcome to genetics. Just remember that animals can't read. And Child of God's in the house says, good morning. Cool. What has everybody been doing these summer months? Oh, I know what I wanted to talk about. This was before I found out that my software on my computer had expired and I couldn't use it this morning. I've been reading a lot of comments online about people having issues with hatch rates and hatchability during the summer months, and wondering. The one post actually sounded like they were trying to put it off on the breeder, the supplier of the hatching eggs, because they got a really poor hatch rate, and I didn't comment on it, but I read through a lot of the comments. And it seemed like it was leaning more towards okay, it's the breeder's fault, blah blah blah. But it's summertime, guys, and it's hot, and shipping eggs this time of year is it's a crapshoot regardless of the time of year when you're shipping eggs. But in the middle of winter and in the middle of summer, when it's really hot like this or really really cold, your eggs can become less viable due to damage caused by either overheating or freezing. And to be honest with you, I would rather have somebody shipped to me in the middle of winter than in the middle of the heat of summer. There are several other reasons, though, that you can get poor hatch rates during the summer. A lot of times, and I noticed this in my operation, being down in South Florida, I see Anita Garrett's in the house. She says, we don't ship with temperatures above 80 degrees. So there you go. But I noticed one thing down here, when it gets really hot and I didn't add any, supplemental cooling into my quail room, it seemed like my males just didn't have the ambition to want to breed with the hens. And I did notice that, fertility rates dropped in the summer times. So, once I cranked the AC up, made it more comfortable in there, fertility rates started to come back up again. But there's so many reasons and issues that you can run into that can cause a bad hatch rate. And the one thing that I noticed that nobody said on those comments was what was your setup? What was your how was your incubator set up? Did you have any issues with it? What kind of an incubator are you using? Um, a lot of time people get poor hatch rates because they have poor equipment, and they just, you know, your equipment plays a big role on the success of a hatch, and also the way you set the eggs. Did you let them rest a little bit before you put them in the incubator? Are you running a turner? Is your incubator running stable temperature, stable humidity, stuff like that? So, yeah, there's a lot of reasons that you can expect, or not expect, but you could possibly have a less than stellar hatch rate, in the heat of summer. So, let's see. All right, where was that here? Andrew Rabbit says on your short video mode, maybe. No, I got that figured out. I had to put it in a live chat again. I keep messing that up. Let's see. Blessed to Crochet says hello everyone. Hello, glad you could join us. Anita Garrett's in the house. She says hi there. Hi Anita, glad you could join us. Andrew Rabbit says hello Anita. Gert says at Coturnix Corner. Glad you could join us, Gert. And then again, Anita says we don't ship with temps over 80 degrees. Let's see, first and last says the kids locked in my basement are eating each other. I hope you're not talking about your kids. I imagine you're talking about first and last. Have you ever roundhouse kicked me? Okay, I don't know what. I don't know if you're actually trying to spam us here or not, but I don't understand what your comments are for. So, Samantha says, so opinions. My chickens have randomly been dying, no symptoms, laid an egg the day before, ate and drank. They're a year to 4 years old. I feed exclusively combat, layer pellets, and free range. Not to be a conspiracy theorist, but I trust combat not to be dirty. Yeah, I've always had really good luck with combat. It's probably one of the better feeds that you can get, at like a local feed store or whatnot, without ordering like a specially blended food. But yeah, I don't know. I haven't had no issues yet with my birds. I've got 4 Rhode Island Reds out back, and they seem to be doing really well. I do the same thing as you. I open the door in the morning and let them free range most of the day. But I haven't had any issues. The only thing I did notice is one of my hens. All my hens were laying pretty large eggs, and I've got one now that is laying for some reason what would be considered a small chicken egg. And I don't know if it's due to heat or if it's a nutrition issue or whatnot, but the birds all seem to be healthy and doing okay. So for now, I'm not really going to worry about it. But yeah, I mean that's strange, especially dying with no symptoms. I'm not sure. Samantha, you're in Michigan, right? I wouldn't think it would be a weather issue up there. Maybe they got into something, that they shouldn't have. I guess I'd keep an eye on that one. Laura Williams in the house says hi, Laura from Oxford, Ohio. Glad you could join us. Andrew Abbott says, my advice is always check your feed first. Try something different for a bit. There you go. And I have purchased, I haven't had an issue with the combat feeds, but I have bought feed before that was bad feed. I mean, it ended up having, I can't remember what the guy at the store called it. It was where it was kind of stringy together, the crumbles. And I've also got feed that was moldy, and they've always replaced them out for me, no problem. But, you never know how long that feed's been sitting on a pallet and in the store, which is why I try to, I'll buy my feed on days that I know that the stuff's coming in fresh, and I'll ask the guy at the feed store, I happen to know him really well, to give me a fresh bag. Lori, I'm live now. Sorry, my sister's trying to call me. All right, where were we here? Jonathan says, 2 questions. Forgive me, new to raising quail. Okay, well, when we get to your questions, we will. Okay, there they are. Let me jump down to that. John says, during lockdown, if an egg comes open due to it being bad and lets out the odor, will it destroy the rest of the eggs? It happened, and only 2 hatched of 30. Wow, related. Yeah, it's possible. I have had eggs explode, which is why I usually candle before I go into lockdown. Because a lot of times you can see, a bad egg or a underdeveloped egg. And I have had them explode, and I've had them get, stinky, slimy stuff all over the incubator and on other eggs. But it really never affected the hatchability of the other eggs that were in there, probably because we were down to the last 3 days. But, you got to remember that bad egg, basically spoiled, is full of rotten bacteria, and it definitely can't be good for the other eggs. But, you would hope that the bloom on the healthy eggs would protect it from any of the bacteria getting into the egg itself. Only 2 hatched out of 30. I seriously doubt that was the bad egg that caused that. I would be looking elsewhere. Crack some of the other ones open if you still have them, and see at what stage of development they were. It could have been something like a humidity issue, to where the chicks just couldn't hatch or couldn't pip through a hard egg, and they all suffocated inside the egg. That many birds, something for that many not to hatch, there's got to be a common denominator in there. And I would lean more towards incubation conditions versus that one egg exploding in your incubator. Okay, let me get back up here because I missed a couple here. Andy Rabbit says, anytime I have more than one animal die on me, I eliminate the feed wonder first thing. Yep, good shot. That's a good call. Get rid of something that they're all doing first, and they're all eating. So, Easy Money Apparel says, good morning, sir. Good morning. Patty's Garden says, good morning. Patty's Garden Feather says, good morning. Anita waving to Andy. Samantha Stratton, there's a few groups I'm in that have the same problem, blaming the government trying to take away our food supply. Yeah, I've heard the same thing. I don't know that the government would really worry so much about backyard breeders, but the thing that had me concerned is look at all the commercial chicken farms that have mysteriously gone up in flames. What has it been, like a half a dozen of them just burned to the ground, and tens of thousands of birds lost? That's kind of strange to me. I don't know. See, Corgolian says, woo, I may alive again, finally. Yeah, I am. I'm trying really hard, guys, to get back to a more predictable schedule on the live streams. Like I say, I'm still trying to get the house finished up. All I got left to do now is finish painting. I got a little bit of stucco work to do on the back side of the house, but that's a one-day thing. But yeah, I am really trying. Let's see. Emma says, talking to Sam, I'm not sure if it's more of a conspiracy than a fact. Look at what happened during lockdown. Made me realize how dependent we all are, and maybe shouldn't be. That's a good point, Emma. Look at what happened when one company, major company, I can't think of the name of it right off the top of my head. They had a system glitch, which was basically a Microsoft computer update, literally shut down the entire world as far as flights, hospitals, police, 911. I cannot believe that we are that dependent on one company or a computer. I think it was a cloud-based computer system that totally failed. But to shut down an entire, just the airline industry alone, worldwide, come on, guys, that's crazy. When I build stuff, I always build with redundancy in mind, like on the incubators. That way, if something fails, there's something's always going to take over. You're telling me that we've got some cloud-based system out there that the world is so dependent on that if they have a glitch or a shutdown, that it's wiping out, air travel, police, 911, hospital, computer. I could not believe the list of stuff that they said that thing knocked out. But come on, we can't be that stupid. Okay, well, I missed a few. Let's see where we at. Jonathan said, 2, if a bird has scoliosis, does it need to be separated from the other birds? Bad neck problem, not sure if it's contagious disease or not. To be honest with you, Jonathan, I have no idea. I wouldn't think so, but that's a question for somebody else more familiar with that, because I myself do not know. Oh, grandfather. Hello. I'm trying to put the comments up on screen like I normally do. I forgot I can't do that when I'm live off my phone. Jeremiah says, what's your favorite color of Coturnix? I am kind of privy to anything that is in the roux, that carries the roux gene. I really like the red pansies, but I like Egyptians. I don't know. I'm fascinated with the changes that the roux gene can have on a phenotype of a bird. So, Andy Rabbit's favorite color is calico. Corgolian says there was one a couple hours from me that went up, almost lost all their flock. Yeah. Oh, it isn't your fault. I was missing them because I kept forgetting they were Sundays and planned early morning things. That's one of the things I have a problem with. Weekends are when I can usually, get to work on the house and whatnot. And I try to plan the Sundays where I don't have to start working till like 10 o'clock. But guess what? By 10 o'clock, it's so hot out, you don't want to be outside. So, yeah, I actually almost went live the other day, Friday evening, just because I didn't know if I was going to miss today. But I got the front of the house painted yesterday, and I thought, you know what, I'm going to take a day off and do the live stream and worry about painting the house this week. Andy Rabb says, wasn't it last year the feed was making chickens not lay? I think I heard that too. I did read that, and I don't know if it was actually a feed-related issue or not. I think I read that, people were posting that online, that the feed is doing something to the birds so they wouldn't lay, and a bunch of other people saying, nah, you're a conspiracy theorist and whatnot. So I don't know. Cogerlian, CrowdStrike. Thank you very much. That's right. That's what it is. Again, how on earth can we depend on a single company that much to keep us going? I'm not going to go conspiracy theory on you guys, but are you telling me that they didn't have backups? I mean, that one Microsoft update wiped out an entire system? I don't know. Something's fishy there, but I don't want to go conspiracy theory on you guys. Let's see, where was I? Oh, yeah, banks also went down. Yep. And they want us all cashless, says Emma. Anita says, yep, that glitch put all the hospitals in our area back to using pen and paper until fixed. I went to the DMV and they were down also. So see, I mean, just so much stuff. Remember back in Y2K, they had everybody, all scared to death of what was going to happen. Computers were going to shut down. The world was going to shut down for Y2K, and nothing happened. I mean, I had a normal day. And now, I don't know. This was a big test, I think, yesterday, guys. Not to be a conspiracy theorist, but... Andrew Rabb says, how easy can the grid go away with just one glitch? That should have been a wake-up to the world. Exactly. They shut down the entire world. We're way too dependent on computers and technology, and it's going to be the downfall. I don't know how many of you guys know I've been a ham radio operator all my life, and we kind of follow the sun and the sunspot cycles because it helps with radio transmissions and whatnot. But you always hear about the one big coronal mass ejection headed towards the Earth. Shuts everything down, and basically CrowdStrike did that. I'm not saying it's their fault, but I cannot believe that a Microsoft issue with with an update. You telling me they update every single computer in that place at the exact same time? Something's fishy. I think it was a test, guys. Let's see, where were we? Okay, Anita says scoliosis is not contagious. It's a developmental effect, developmental defect. Okay, thank you, Anita. Appreciate that. Laura Williams says, what's your favorite type of quail for meat? Any of the jumbo varieties. Jumbo Ferraris. Jumbo Ferraris. Jumbo Pharaohs was what I was keeping for meat. But it's all the same. Just a matter of size. All right, what are we at here? Don Skins in the house says, good morning from South Mississippi. Good morning, Don. Glad you could join us. Andy Rabbit says, my favorite type of meat is the loud roosters. Yep, exactly. SIA says, can I say something but forgive me? You can say so. I don't understand your comment. Andy Rabbit says, put your trust in just one anything and it will let you down someday. Exactly. Cries says, airports too. Our family is still stuck abroad. Yeah, there you go. Andy Rabbit says, haha, Y2K. Yeah, that was a joke. Nothing happened there. Cogolian says Y2K 24. Yeah, that's pretty much what it was. Where's my cookie do that? Okay, she's sleeping down there. Business development says, how can I start? I don't know. Start what? Start keeping quail, maybe? I don't know. If that's what you're talking about, get some hatching eggs in an incubator and start hatching out eggs. And it goes really fast from there on out. Emma Ball says, all eggs in one basket comes to mind, and we know that's not a good idea. Exactly. Cry says, is it okay to take quail off the heat at 2 weeks during the summer? I'm in Florida, and average, summertime temps is really hot, but even in the winter, our average temperatures is 70, 80 degrees, and usually by 2.5 weeks, definitely by 3 weeks, I had all my birds off of the heat, and they did just fine. So you can do it. I would maybe kind of ease them into it. Maybe give them heat just at night, and then during the day, as long as it's warm enough. But keep an eye on the birds. They're going to tell you if they're too cold. If they start huddling together, and they're definitely going to show you. I would pay attention to them and let them tell you whether they're too cold or too hot. So Bell says, with FBI. Yeah, it makes you wonder, doesn't it? Anna Bishop says, my parents are ham radio operators too. Cool. Yeah, I come from a long line of ham radio operators. My grandparents, my parents, my great-grandparents, my grandparents, my parents, and me were all ham radio operators. And actually, my daughter, she got her technician's license a few years back. I don't know if she ever renewed it or not, but yeah, I come from a long line of hams too. So go. Cogrillian says, I had my first quail scalping yesterday, early morning. So thankful for your Facebook group, where I'd have been freaked out more than I was, as I knew how to handle it. Yeah, I remember my first scalping when I first got into them. I was scared to death, and I actually put that bird down because I thought it was, really suffering. But then I started, doing a little research and whatnot, and realized that, I won't say it's common, but it happens. and you can treat it, and the bird will survive just fine. So, but live and learn. Andy Rabbit says my dad's a ham too. Cool. Yeah, there's still a lot of hams out there. I actually, when my dad passed away a couple years ago, I actually applied and got his call sign so I could carry on his call because he's been a ham forever. And I wanted his call sign to continue on. So, Emma Ball says, "What's a ham operator?" In the States, we call amateur radio operators hams. So that's a ham radio operator. And basically, it's, do you remember Morse code? And that's all I do, guys. I don't do any voice. I am strictly. It's called QRP CW, which is I don't use a microphone. I just use a key and send code. And QRP is low power. So what I was doing a few years back, and I haven't done it lately, but I need to. I was trying to see how far I could make a contact using the least amount of power. And my record to date is a little town in Europe. I'm not exactly sure right now, but I think it was like 4,000 something miles or better, maybe 4,500 miles on a quarter of a watt. So yeah, I like it. It's funny how low power can be using CW can really travel. Emma, yeah, it's kind of like CB radio with a little bit more frequency privileges. I mean, we've got a lot of privileges that CBers don't have, and it requires taking a test to be able to do it. Back when I got my license back in the 70s, you actually had to pass a speed test, a code speed test. You had to be able to send and receive 5 words per minute. And I see they've done away with that requirement, but no. To me, ham radio is Morse code, and that's why I stick with it. I'm actually using the original J38 key, which is a military-style key that my grandmother used to use back when she was alive, and she was a ham. She had passed that on to my dad, and he passed it on to me, and it's so cool. Oh, that's cool. Corbolian said there was a story about a family stuck. I think it was in Death Valley, no cell service, but one of the kids had a ham, and someone across the country heard their SOS and got help to them. Yeah, that's basically what hams do. And I mean it's funny because when all this technology fails, cell towers go down. Well, this past hurricane, Ian. A lot of phone service, cell service, texting, it all went down because cell towers got knocked over, and that's when they call on ham radio operators. We have a local club. It's a 2-meter club, and they get messages out, and they send messages to people. They send messages to first responders if they're needed. So yeah, I mean it's really good. Sometimes it's better to hang on to the old technology. Just because you got the new stuff doesn't mean it's always better. At least in my mind. Emma says, that's amazing, Terry. Andy Rabbit says, that's how I explained it to my hubby. Yeah. Let's see. Christ says, thanks. We took the heat and gave them a sandbox. They huddled in that, but I'm not sure if they're cold or just excited about the sand. They all dug little holes and bedded down in that. What I would do, I would put a little bit of a heat source on one end of that box and watch them. If they all migrate over to the source where the heat is, then yeah, they're still a little bit too young and they still need a little bit of heat. But if they're all running around and scattered, and not paying attention to the weather, I wouldn't worry about it. But one thing you got to look at, and I tell people this all the time, is like even with baby chickens that are, brooded naturally under a hen. I've seen 1, 2, 3 day old chicks come out from under the hen. They'll be out, pecking around and scratching and whatnot away from the hen. And then when they do start to get a little chilled, course, they run back to the hen and they warm up a little bit. So yeah, that might be a better idea for you. Tries, go ahead and offer them a heat source. And if they use it, fine. If they don't, fine also. You don't have to worry about them. But once you see that they're avoiding the heat source, then pull, you don't need it. Pull it off there. David Bullock says, oh wait, Emma says, I used to play with my dad's CB as a kid. I loved it. Yeah, I was never really big on CB. Well, when I was driving truck, I had a CB in there only because it's a way to talk to other drivers and find out what was going on. But even marine applications, guys are using ham radio. They're halfway across the ocean, and they can still talk to people locally. Say their satellite phone went down or whatever, they could still make a call. David Bullock says, good morning from North Carolina. Andy Rabbit says, my dad has helped broken down people like that before. Yeah, it's pretty neat. Swim as fast as you can. That's a good handle for down here in Florida. They've had a lot of shark attacks lately. Swim as fast as you can. New is never better. I agree. I like old technology. Thumper says, isn't there a certain day that you can talk to military and military pilots? I don't know. I've never talked to, I talk to military personnel all the time. I've never talked to a pilot that I know of. If he was, like I say, I'm CW, which is Morse code. But I've talked to military people, and where they were, a lot of times they wouldn't tell me if they were on a base. Yeah, they would tell me they're on a base, but I don't know, had I ever talked to one that was like maybe out to sea on a ship or anything. To be honest with you, I don't know. But yeah. Crisis, thanks, not a problem. And he says, I know Dad told me he was in California and heard someone that was in Nevada that needed help back before free long distance was a thing, and called for them, talking to the lady until help came. Yeah, cool. Yeah, and that, to me, that's what it's all about. The main reason I stuck with Morse code and keys is even ham radio has kind of gone up with technology. They've got all kinds of stuff where I'm trying to think of an example. My dad actually followed the new technology because he was in a few of the ham radio groups that use that technology. But like a computer, they got computer logging, and I don't know. I never did that. To me, it's a piece of paper, a pen, and my key. So yeah, I guess I'm old school as far as that goes. Anita says, we have OFAN radios. What is that? Never heard of it. Is that those little radios like for using, like if you were out hiking or something, you can both have radios, and I think they've got a pretty good distance to them too. Yeah. Let me know what that is. I've never heard the term BOFAN. Noah says, got a good question. I have color variants of quail, and I have 2 males to 20 females, but had to get rid of the female. He got aggressive and would fight the males, and never had that problem. Yeah, it happens. I've had hens that would become overly aggressive. They want to be the matriarch in the group and become really aggressive. The problem with it you run into is if they're more dominant over the male, that can actually make your male a little less likely to want to breed. They feel, I won't say subservient, but just kind of, tends to slow the males down a little bit. Let's see. Swim as fast as you can. That's cool. It's an old handle. I'm from New Zealand, so you can't drive here. Gotcha. Yep, that's cool. Where are we at here? Nolan says, is big government going to take our quail away because it's a scary bird flu? To be honest with you, I don't think so. Right now, Coturnix are kind of there's not a whole lot of, what's the word I'm looking for? There's not a whole lot of public awareness, I guess you'd say, of quail. Yeah, people know there's quail out there, but a lot of people that keep quail keep them in their backyard, and for the most part, they're quiet. Even if somebody heard a quail crow, a rooster crow, they don't really know what it is. So I don't think it's really, garnered the attention of the government yet. I'm pretty sure as soon as, a few of these representatives, get wind that, oh wow, you can, keep quail and be self-sufficient and make a little side money. Yeah, they're going to probably start putting taxes on them and, needing permits and all that nonsense. Yeah, it's hard to say, but I don't think for the time being we got anything to worry about. There's some people are concerned with the direction some of the showing of quail is taking. We've got an organization over on Facebook right now. It's called the Coturnix Breeders of America or something like that. The American Coturnix Breeders Association. That's it. And they're working on a standard of perfection. They're working to get shows or get quail into your common poultry shows. And some people are saying, that that's going to be the ticket to regulating quail like they do with chickens. But, if you look at it, pretty much everybody can still have chickens, unless you live in town. Like where I'm at, we have a limit of 4 chickens, and which actually I just found out recently or this year that because I'm in unincorporated Lee County, that doesn't apply to me. I can actually have more chickens than that, and I can even keep roosters. So I don't know if you heard the rooster out there crowing, but anyhow, getting back to that, is government going to, put their hand in the cookie jar and decide that they want a little bit of the quail money? It's possible. I don't think it's going to happen anytime soon, and I don't really think that even drawing the attention to Coturnix through poultry shows, I don't think that's going to affect them either. We have rabbit shows, chicken shows, all kinds of bird shows, but you guys know our government. you know they're going to try to do something eventually. So okay, I lost a few. Oh no, I didn't. But as far as because of the bird flu, I don't think you really need to worry about it. Yeah, that's all I'm going to say right on that for now. JM says, I'm new here. Do you sell quail? I don't even have any quail. I got rid of mine earlier this year. Well, actually, the end of last year due to an issue in my shop causing me to hack. I couldn't breathe with all the dust and dander, but no, I don't, but we have sponsors, and I'm going to give them all a quick shout out that do. You got Thieving Otter Farm, you got Bryant's Ruse, and you've got Gopherage Quail. And I'm not sure, Anita Garrett, she runs AJ Farms LLC. I'm not sure what their policy is now on selling hatching eggs. I know she's still into raising quail, but I don't know if she's actually still shipping hatching eggs or not. So, Shelby says, we started with 24 one-week-old jumbos. I spend time with them, high-protein feed and fresh water, etc. But they are crazy mean, ipex, feather pulling, bloody mess, cage size good ideas. Okay, how old are the birds now, Shelby? And what's your ratio as far as male to female? And also, what's your ratio of birds per square footage? That will make a big difference. And also, I don't know where you got your birds from, but sometimes there are some lines out there that are just more aggressive than others because, the breeder doesn't take the time to cull out aggressive birds. But yeah, I'd be interested in knowing how old they are now, and the sex ratio and the square footage ratio. Okay, swim as fast as can says Bowfang, she means. Okay, Bob Cole says the same thing. I think she means Bowfang Brank radios. I don't even know what that is. I've never heard of one. Is there a ham radio with citizen bands? Um, yeah, you could actually. I'm not sure. I'm not sure the exact frequency of CB, but yeah, I mean, with the especially the class I am. I'm an extra class, which is the highest class you can get. You have a lot more frequency privileges. So yes, I'm sure that that our radios could be tuned to a frequency that CBers use. Um, I don't use it. I only use 20 meters, and that's because that's for me that's the best band as far as uh, antenna size and distance. I'm shooting for distance with everything I use. So. Let's see, Swims Fashion, Boa Fang, handhelds, cheap and nasty, but okay for listening to the filth. Okay. Yeah, I've seen them before. I've seen they had radios like on Amazon. They got these little handheld radios that are, good for, I don't know if they're line of sight radios or what, but I think it's more like an emergency type camping radio. See, Salvador's in the house, says, good morning, Terrio from Puerto Rico. Glad you could join us, Salvador. Noah says, yeah, she beat the hell out of the male. He finally can open his eyes and getting the feathers back. But, yeah, was chasing only one male and beating him up good. So ate her with some spinach and corn. There you go. That'll take care of the problem. Emma Ball says, in the UK, from October, all keepers of quail have to be put on a register. Prior to that, it was 50 birds. Now it's 1. Unbelievable. Yeah, I mean, regulations, it's a worldwide thing, unless you live in some of the third world countries where they don't care, you can do whatever you want. But yeah, I think it's just a matter of time, I mean, and we are kind of regulated right now. I mean, in Florida, if you have over 50 birds, you have to get a license through Florida Fish and Game to have them. A lot of people are concerned with getting your birds tested because that's going to put you in a database. So yeah, I mean, it's something we're going to have to deal with. Like I say, though, it seems to me Poultry has put up with it, and they're still making out okay. But the government, they want their hands in everything. What is scalping? Haven't heard of that one yet. That's basically when a bird gets their head scalped. What the attacking bird is doing is basically peeling the skin back, exposing. I've seen it right down to the skull, but exposing meat underneath the head. So it's not real pretty, but don't let it scare you because it can be taken care of. The biggest thing is to get rid of the aggressor. But you can, get the bird to heal up and just keep producing. Andy Rabbit says, my son used to drive truck, pick up eggs every 18 months. They kill all the old chickens anyway, so nothing new. It's just being advertised now. Yeah, exactly. Grasshopper Plus says, hey, Dad. Okay, somebody's dad must be on there. Thumper Quail, Thumper. Quail, chicken, and rabbits. You'll never go hungry. And a garden, of course. Yep. I just wish I had more land, to have a garden, big enough to basically sustain us. But That's why I went with bees. I got quite a few bees out back. They're supplying us with, honey and wax and whatnot. Anita says, I spelled it wrong. It's Balefang. Okay. It is a wireless handheld portable transceivers. Contains a low power transmitter and has to be registered with the FCC. Okay. Noah says, took a trip to West Texas last weekend. So many wild bobwhites. Was cool to see them run across the road with the road runners. The little head feather makes me want to have some for my yard. Cool. Yeah, I used to hunt bobwhites up in Michigan when I was younger. They also used to scare me to death. I'd be walking through the woods, and this was before I had a dog. When them birds would flush, I mean, it sounded like, I don't know, like a Huey helicopter taking off. It would scare me to death. CWH1 says CB is in the 20-meter band. So there you go. I don't pay no attention to CBs. To be honest with you, I don't even know what frequency it is, the exact frequency, but cool. Good to know. What age is optimal to butcher quail for me? 8 weeks, 8 to 10 weeks is fine. Bob Cole says, hi Anita, only need a license if you transmit. Anyone can listen. Yeah, I think that's pretty much the same anywhere. Same with ham radio. You can listen all day long. You don't need a license. Shelby says, 6 weeks now, males and females kept separate still. We built our cages to your specs, which we appreciate, thank you. I have several birds separated in totes due to aggressive behavior and injury. All right, so if you build them to my specs, those cages are 6 square feet. So I would go 18 birds per level. And I know it's going to look like it's crowded, but it's really not. And it seems to me that the birds always did better when you had a tight group of birds together. Like 4 birds per square foot is totally fine. As far as your males and females being separated, you might want to go ahead and start picking out your breeding groups now, because your males are obviously going to have a little bit of aggression towards each other, especially once they start becoming sexually mature. You're going to notice they're going to want to start, actually breeding with the other males. And the hens, the reason I say put your breeding groups together now is you don't want your hens to set up a pecking order to where you have a matriarch of that group that isn't going to accept a male into the group later on. I like to set my breeding groups up as early as possible, and then watch them. Any aggression that you see within the groups, call that bird out, get them out of there. Don't breed aggressive birds. And as far as your ratios, you can do anything from 1 to 3 to 1 to 6 or 7. If the lower the breeding ratio, like say you're doing a 1 to 3, 1 to 4, you can expect your hens to look a little bit rougher than a larger ratio, but you're going to guarantee a little bit better fertility rate because the rooster's able to access all the hens. I noticed in some of my larger breeding groups where I was doing like a 1 to 10, I was getting infertile eggs. So there were a few of the hens that the rooster wasn't even attempting to breed with. Let's see, Andy says, I miss hearing bobwhites in the wild. Anita's talking to Bob. Bob says, when are you going to get quail again? As soon as I get all my work done around here, the house projects, the next project, and there will be a video on it, I'm going to build an outside setup where I'm going to keep all my quail. I'm probably going to end up getting rid of my Rhode Island Reds. It's nice to have chicken eggs, because the wife likes them she likes eating chicken eggs, not really a big fan of quail eggs, but I love quail eggs, and she can still use them for cooking them. And I want my aviary back. My chickens took over the aviary. Let's see. Anita says, we have a group around here that use them. Oh, talking about, sorry about that. Andy says, good question. David says, sorry I'm late tending to my successful hatch. Cool, congratulations. Andy says, congratulations. Noah says, you ever done pheasant hunts? They used to do them every year, and I would release them and let you hunt, or they would release them and let you hunt. Yeah, I did, matter of fact. At my mother's house, she has a big enough back area behind the yard that, well, now there's deer there, but back when I was a kid, there were pheasants all over the place, ringneck pheasants. And I would always actually go out there and try to shoot them with a bow. And I hit one once and it bounced off the bird, so that was kind of the end of trying to hit. I guess I had the wrong type of a tip. I was using a practice point. But yeah, that's another one. I remember walking to school. We used to cut through this field to go to school. And a pheasant would flush, we were scared to death when they'd flush. They make so much noise. It was crazy. Shelby says, will do, thank you. Gloria says, chicken social groups sound more complicated than high school. Yeah, I've read through a few of the Facebook groups, and those groups I don't even want to be a part of, because they're just the drama, the all-out meanness. We don't need that. So, yeah, I mean, that's what happens when you get online and everybody's hidden behind a keyboard and they can think they can get away with whatever. Nolan says, have you ever pickled quail eggs? I have. Matter of fact, there is a video on Coturnix Corner YouTube channel about doing that. And he says, with the right recipe, for me, pickled quail eggs are good. I have two favorite recipes. One is just plain vinegar and water and what do they call those? Pickling seasoning. That's my favorite, but I also like hot. I mean, load that jar up with jalapeno peppers, and oh, they're good. Emma says, do you keep any other birds in your aviary apart from quail? Will you in the future? The only other birds I've had in my aviary are the 4 Rhode Island Red chickens that I currently still have. But like I said, here's the issue with me and keeping caged birds. Florida law says if you're keeping bees, you cannot keep a caged animal within 100 feet of your bees. For me to do that, I would have to take my caged animals, quail, chickens, whatever, and put them on the opposite end of the property out by the street, which isn't going to work. So what I've been doing to kind of skirt that process is I let my animals free range, my chickens, but I've never had an issue where the bees were attacking the chickens. Matter of fact, it was the other way around. The chickens will go over and sit outside of one of my bee boxes and peck at the bees as they come out of the hive. So, yeah, I don't. Anyhow, I free range them. But as far as keeping, with quail, obviously you can't free range them really, but I'm just going to set it up. I know my inspector really well, and I don't think she's going to have an issue with it. Let's see. Noah says you got to be careful pickling quail eggs. They can be too tangy. Haven't been successful on that. Anita Garrett says, I like the mustard pickled eggs and the dill. Yeah, dill, that's what some of the pickling spices that I buy are dill, and oh, I love it. Nolan says, awesome, thank you, trying that this week. Cool. And David says, any worries about the onset of birds? I can't tell if there's a bird. Hold on a minute. I guess that's supposed to say flu. I can't see behind it. There's a stupid heart over that in the west, or is this old news? Be honest with you, David, I don't know because I haven't been paying attention to it. But if you have a good policy where you're not letting people in it's a biosecurity policy, not letting people in with your birds, unless they're, I mean, you can get really picky. You can have them suit up, you can have them change their shoes or cover their shoes, but I wouldn't worry about it. And another good point that Andy just made is quail are easy to restart. So yeah, if you did have to wipe out an entire flock due to avian influenza, it would be nothing to get restarted again. I mean, I've heard of it down here in Florida. And the closest that I've heard of it to me was one county north of us. But we never had no problem with it. I've never seen it down here. I don't think of anybody I know that's ever had an issue with it. Okay, where was I at? Okay. I thought pickled eggs were the best, but since I tried smoked quail eggs, it's my new favorite. Just took 100 out of the smoker this morning. I have always wanted to try that, and I am going to try it eventually. I used to love smoking stuff. I used to make beef jerky all the time, and we'd smoke chickens and hams. I used to love using the smoker, and I don't know why I don't much anymore, but I need to, because that's the way to eat things. Corbrillion says, I was just looking at the recipes for smoked quail eggs. Can't wait to try. Emma says, I was brought up as a gamekeeper's daughter, and hunting Sundays was a regular thing for me. My kids are city kids. How do I get them to see the importance of raising our own quail? They won't touch them. Emma, good luck with that. I have 3 kids, a son and 2 daughters, and I try to explain to them, you need to learn to do stuff for yourself. You need to learn to be able to support yourself. Like my son, I'd say, I always took him out and had him help me, like work on the car, work on the truck, changing brakes, tune up, stuff like that. And he would always complain about it. And he says, I don't want to learn this stuff. I don't need to know this stuff. I said, yeah, you do need to start it, because eventually you're going to have a car and you're going to need to know how to take care of it. And if you don't, you're going to have to pay somebody to do it. And he said, well, that's fine. I'll just pay somebody to do it. I said, okay, it can get really expensive. If you don't, I can rebuild an engine for under $1,000. You think you can buy an engine that cheap? Nope, it's not going to happen. So anyhow, yeah, kids nowadays don't appreciate the old ways of doing things. Learning to be self-sufficient. But give them a game controller, they're set for life. Oh, let's see. Samantha says, oh, what temperature and how long? What are you talking about, Samantha? The pickled quail eggs or smoked? Smoked, I don't know, because I've never done them. Pickled quail eggs, I just bring it to a boil, and I've got all my eggs already in a jar, and then with my seasoning in the boiled water, I just pour it over top of the eggs. Anybody here? David says, anyone here tried making quail jerky? I have not. It'd be interesting to see how it turned out. I think I missed a question here. Luke says, I started keeping Coturnix over 2 weeks ago and incubated my first batch of quail eggs. They are just starting to peep. What is the process for integrating them with my other quail? I would at least get them grown up before you introduce them, at least 4 to 6 weeks of age before you introduce them. I have put younger birds, like 2 weeks old, 3 week old, in with adult birds, but I always made, this is out in my aviary, but I always made sure that there was plenty of hide areas for the younger birds to be able to get away from the adults should they need to. Let's see, where do we go here? But as far as integrating them with other birds, what you can do is you can have, like, say, your adult birds on one side of the cage, and then have a divider and your younger birds on the other side. Give them a week or so to basically get to know each other. You know, they can interact through the wire or whatever divider you have, and then, you know, slowly get them integrated into the flock of other birds. But yeah, just keep an eye on them. Make sure you don't have any real aggressive birds. For the most part, I think, unless you've got a rooster that really wants to breed, you know, with some of the younger hens, that would be the only issue I would watch out for, or one of the issues I would watch out for. Whitaker says another liberal. Okay, no, I don't know who the liberal is, but okay. Savage Daughter Farm says, hello, finally caught morning musings. Cool. Glad you could make it. And I love that name, Savage Daughter Farms. Noah says, out of curiosity, how much a month would you pay to keep quail? For me, I use Hudson feed, 50-pound bag for $31 with some crushed oyster shells, 7 pounds, $12 in, and Hydra hens stocked up, so I don't have to buy that. I found, out of curiosity, how much a month would you pay to keep quail? I found that the more birds that I kept, believe it or not, the cheaper it was for me to keep them. Yeah, I was spending more money in feed, but when you broke it down to how much each individual bird was eating, it was pretty inexpensive. You know, there was, especially if you got a good source feed. Like I think you said $31 for a 50-pound bag. That's about $10 more a bag than what I was paying. Crushed oyster shells, I never had to buy that. Sand, I get for free. So, I mean, the Coturnix aren't expensive to keep, you know. Yeah, they eat a lot, but they grow really, really fast. You know, it's not like a chicken where you've got to feed a chicken for 6 months before you see the first egg. You know, quail, you can have your first egg in, you know, 8 to 10 weeks. Okay, where we go here? Buck says, hello everyone, glad you joined us, Buck. Somebody speaking a language I don't understand. Sorry about that. Let's see. David says, Noah, My Shire Farms did a cost video on this subject. Yeah, if you want to break it down to the actual cost, it's going to be tricky. I looked it up a couple times, you know, what it costs to raise a quail from the egg up to butcher weight, or up to the weight where they start laying. And I think it turned out to be, I'm just guessing here, between $3 and $5 per bird. Or maybe it was closer to 15, I can't remember. But what you had to look at was after that bird started laying, or after that hen grew up to say 10 weeks and she started laying, or even 12 weeks. If you've got a source for eggs, to, you know, selling your eggs, you know, I mean, people are getting $1 an egg now for hatching eggs, which is a pretty good price, you know, for a single egg. So they're definitely going to pay for themselves if you work everything right. Andrew Rabbit says, I made squirrel jerky, so much work deboning for such little jerky, but it was so good. Yeah, that would be a trick. Bob says, have some 2-week-old babies in the brooder, thinking of putting in a hutch by themselves today. Yeah. Cool. Just keep an eye on them. You know, Bob, I would offer them a heat source regardless if you're gonna, you know, move them out in a hutch, just in case they need it. You know, you don't want them getting chilled. And I don't know what the temperature is where you're at right now. Anyhow, my thing's messing up on me. Buy more quail, I got you. Well, I mean, I don't want to tell you not to buy quail. Quail math is more dangerous than chicken math for me. Yep. Anita says, I have a formula, but can't put it here as it's a photo. I'll send it to you, Terry. Cool, that would be great, Anita. Appreciate that. I know some people that are raising quail commercially, and they're saying that they're spending more per month to feed their birds than they pay for their home mortgage. So, I mean, I would hope and I would think that they've got enough money coming in to justify it, but, you know, it can get kind of expensive. What on earth is wrong with my... There we go. What's 10 o'clock? Wow, I didn't think it was going to go that long. I hope my phone battery's holding up okay. Let's see, where to go. For introductions, this is Emma. For introductions, I normally take out all the birds from the cage for a few minutes, then add the new ones with the old back in the cage after making a few small changes. Yeah, it disorientates them enough. Yeah, that's a good thing too. I've heard people say, yeah, introduce them at night, and they wake up in the morning, they don't realize it, or like Emma says, pull them out of the cage, rearrange the furniture, put them back in, and there's no issues. A lot of things that I notice, especially if you've got, you know, birds that aren't really packed in tight, is having places for the bird that's being picked on to be able to kind of get out of the way, you know, hide in a little area. So, yeah, I mean, a lot's going to depend too on the temperament of your quail. I've had some quail, you know, at some groups where I could, you know, throw in birds fresh out of the brooder and they didn't have a problem with them. I've had other ones where, you know, I take birds from inside, put them out in the aviary, and some of the bigger males or bigger hens wanted to, you know, attack the little chicks. And I don't know if they're, you know, maybe establishing a pecking order, but young chicks really can't handle that pecking order, the establishment part of it, because, you know, they can get hurt. Okay, where we at here? Emma says they concentrate on surroundings rather than the new entrance. Yeah, they think, you know, that they've been put into a different cage. They want to kind of figure out where they're at now. Good point, Emma. David says I just paid $26 for a 50-pound bag of game bird feed at 30% here in West Plains, Missouri. Yeah, I think that's about average. I think I was paying 21. But when I switched over to Kalmbach, it got a little bit more expensive, and for some reason my supplier at the feed store, he didn't want to give me a bulk price if I even bought, you know, a pallet at a time. He said, this is how I make my money, I can't. So, and I hear people ordering feed off of Chewy. I'm like, how on earth can you afford that? Yeah, they got free shipping, but, you know, when you're paying $50 for a bag of feed, a little ridiculous. Nolan says, why did I click on that? I have jumbos. I estimated $3 to $4 Canadian. Okay. Andy Rabbit says, I think the math is at $20 for 50 pounds, a standard egg should cost 5 cents, and a jumbo is 10 or 15 cents a day. That's with feeding the roosters. There you go. David, where did you buy that? Okay, Andy's talking to David. Savage Daughter Farm says, I normally pay around $20 for a 50-pound bag of feed. As long as your calcium content is where it needs to be, no need for the oyster shells. I have about 200 head. Cost for me per bird is about $4 at 8 weeks. There you go. And then, you know, once $4 for a bird up to 8 weeks, and once she starts laying, you know, if you can get even if you get 50 cents an egg, you're getting that $4 back real quick. Buck says, how do you use the discount code for a hatching time incubator? I believe Hatching Time changed their thing up a little bit. The code is only like $10 off. But if you go to one of my Hatching Time videos on the channel, there's a new link in there. And I know I put it on all the videos with Hatching Time, that you can go there and it will give you, it's either 10% or $10 off. And all you got to do is click on that link and then place your order. That link will automatically apply the discount, whether it's 10% or $10, I'm not sure. Andy Rabbit says MFA is closing down. I have to find a new feed store. Oh, bummer. All right, I'm just trying to see if we got any more quick points in here. It's 10:15. I kind of got to get going. Talking to me. Bob says, I think the 50-pound combat layer on Chewies is like 27. I have to drive 70 miles one way to a Tractor Supply, or 50 miles, what moved on me, more miles for another feed store. Chewy is a deal for me. Yeah, I mean, in that case, definitely. I think I'm paying 16 bucks for layer feed. 16 or 18, I'm not 100% sure on that. Andrew Evans says, thank you, David. I'll check into theirs. I'm only a few blocks from them. Oh, this is cool. That's cool says, if you ever get a chance to shut up, will you? That's cool says, no, please don't leave. That's cool. You're out of here. What on earth is on my computer here? I used to have moderators that came in and did this stuff for me. All right, guys, that brings me down to the bottom of the list, and it's 10:15, so time for me to get rolling and get something done today, even though I don't know what that's going to be. Real quick shout out to our sponsors again, Thieving Otter Farm, Bryant's Roost, Gopher Ridge Quail, and Hatching Time. Oh, guys, you know what we forgot to do? We forgot to do our giveaway. Anybody, real quick, anybody that wants hatching eggs, comment hatching eggs. Anybody that wants a $50 gift certificate, comment $50. And I'll wait here for a few minutes and see who's... and this is only for you, United States, guys. If you're in Canada or out of the country, I can't help you out there. Although, wait a minute, Hatching Time, I think, is worldwide. I think, yeah. I'm going to give you guys a few minutes while I write this down. Let's see, Gopher Ridge, Otter Farm, Bryant's Roost, and Hatching Time. Okay, guys, if I call your name, I need you to email me at Terry at Coturnix Corner. I'm going to go ahead and put that in the comments right now. I need your shipping information, a good phone number, and a good email. The reason for that is sometimes these breeders need to get a hold of you regarding your order. I know right now that Thieving Otter Farm has a deal where you can delay your order if you think it's too hot for them to ship. Emma Ball, you're going to get the Hatching Time gift certificate. And of course, I got to find something else that writes a little bit better than this. See, everything is totally screwed up in here now because, as you can see, this computer room is now a bedroom, and all my computer stuff is moved out into my shop, including my pens and whatnot. Hopefully I can get this right. Okay. Bob Cole, I'm going to hook you up with some Thieving Otter Farms eggs. Savage Daughter Farms. You're getting Bryant's Roost hatching eggs. And who else? Somebody new that I haven't given eggs to in a while. David DeBarge. You're going to get, who am I missing here? Oh, Gopher Ridge. Let me write that down. David. Okay, again, guys, send me your shipping information, Terry at CoturnixCorner.com, and I will forward that on to our sponsors, and they will get that out to you guys soon. So, guys, I want to thank you for joining me today. I really appreciate it. I'm going to try to get a more regularly scheduled live. What happened with the reason I'm on my phone today is the software that I used to use to go live had expired. And I'm not going to pay to renew it. So I'm going to another software that is actually free. I thought they were paid, but it turns out they have an entry-level thing that's free, and I'm going to start using them next week. I'm going to play around with it a little bit this week just to make sure that I understand, how to use it and whatnot. So, guys, have a wonderful rest of your weekend, a great week, and yeah, we'll see you next week. Thanks a lot.